Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the complex world of big business to see if the emperor is wearing any clothes. And today we are looking at Aeluma Incorporated, a company that has been making some noise in the market. We've got a Form 8K here, which is basically a report used by public companies to announce major events that shareholders should know about. So what is the big news from Aeluma Incorporated, or ALMU as you see it traded on the Nasdaq? Well, it looks like they had a pretty significant public offering of their stock in September of 2025. This means they sold a bunch of new company shares to the public to raise money, which is a pretty standard move for companies that are looking to grow or fund new projects. They entered into an agreement with a bunch of underwriters, Craig, Hallam Capital Group LLC being the main one to be precise. The plan was to sell 1.7 million shares of their common stock. Think of common stock as the most basic kind of ownership in a company. They set the price at $13 a share. Now, here is where it gets interesting. They also gave the underwriters an option. This option allowed the underwriters to buy even more shares if they wanted to, for a slightly lower price. And guess what? They did exactly that. They bought an extra 255,000 shares. This tells us there was a lot of demand for this offering. And the whole deal wrapped up just a few days later. So after paying the underwriters and other fees, Aeluma brought in about $23.4 million. That's not a small amount of money, and it's a pretty good chunk of cash for a company. What are they going to do with this cash? Well, they plan to use it to expand their business. Specifically, they want to improve their manufacturing processes, hire more people, a sure sign they expect to grow and need more hands on deck, and then general business stuff like working capital. This all points towards a company that feels confident about its future prospects and is willing to invest in growth. They did all this under a shelf registration statement, which essentially allows them to pre-register stocks they might want to sell later, making these kinds of offerings quicker and more efficient. Now, the agreement itself includes all the usual clauses you'd expect in a deal like this. Things like promises from the company about how things are, conditions that need to be met for the deal to go through, and how they'll cover each other if something goes wrong. Think of it like the fine print that protects everyone involved. To tell everyone about this offering, they put out a press release right on the 17th of September, and then another one on the 18th to announce the price of the stock. This is all really standard procedure for these kinds of events. And finally, the filing lists all the supporting documents. We got the underwriting agreement itself, an opinion from their lawyers about the legality of the stock sale, and those press releases we just talked about. Now, for my take on all of this, Aeluma Incorporated Alabama Mu seems to be in a growth phase. Raising $23.4 million is a solid achievement, and their plans to invest in manufacturing, new hires, and general business operations suggest they re-strategically positioning themselves for expansion. The fact that the underwriters exercised their option to buy more shares indicates strong investor interest, which is a very positive signal. It shows that demand for their stock was high enough that the underwriters felt confident they could sell those extra shares. This usually means the offering was well received in the market. However, we also need to remember that growth always comes with risks. Investing in manufacturing can be capital intensive and hiring new people, while a good sign of growth also increases operational costs. The success of these investments will depend on Aeluma's ability to execute their strategy effectively and convert these expenditures into increased revenue and profitability. We need to keep an eye on their future filings, particularly their financial statements, to see if these investments are paying off. For now, this Form 8K paints a picture of a company proactively seeking capital to fuel its growth ambitions. Alright, that is our breakdown of Aeluma Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Do you think this capital raise will translate into significant growth? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. Don't forget to check out our Discord community linked in the description for more discussions and insights. Thanks for watching. See you next time.